Alright guys, here's another video log just straight off the internet here at my screen at my desk of another 57 I did. What actually happened, this is a Bel Air 57 four-door sedan that it was actually just a couple miles from me out here in a field. The guy I know real well, he's got quite a few old cars he's built, and this was one of them he was planning on building. But anyway, I actually didn't have the money to buy it, but I talked a friend of mine in who just got his income tax in to buy the car and build it for himself because he wanted an old hot rod for his family. So he went and bought it. I think it was $800. It did have a hood and it did have a fender that come with it. And it was mostly all there except the motor, I think, and the transmission. But anyway, so he bought it and he took it home and he did an easy wire harness, front to back in it. Redid all the brake system. It was still drums, but he redid it all. New master cylinder, and wheel cylinders, brake shoes, and all that stuff. Hoses. I think he put upper and lower ball joints in it. And I don't remember if he did a new gas tank or if he just had that one cleaned. But anyway, he got it kind of cobbled back together. He went to the local pull-apart salvage and got a 350 engine out of a truck and put in it. He bought a new carburetor, new HEI ignition, new intake manifold. He bought some Hooker long tube headers and put on it. So he bought a lot of new stuff for it right out of the gate, So he ended up, he did DuPont single stage acrylic enamel on the roof, and then he just put urethane black primer on the rest of it. And he actually drove it on a 200-mile car cruise with us all one time. And shortly after that, I ended up trading for the car. And this picture here is in my backyard, and that's when I acquired it. The car did run and drive, and I actually tried driving it around, but it was a little on the scary side. It still had a clunk in the front end and stuff, and some of the wiring was put through the firewall and through the core support without grommets, and it's just little stuff. It just needed little stuff, but otherwise it was, it'd start run and move, basically. So anyway, I ended up, now I was on a budget when I got it, so I ended up doing some stuff to it, and this is some more before pictures of it. This is the Summit's own line of radiators. They have some universal measured ones, and he kind of built his own brackets and made it work. The car, it stayed cool no matter what, because this was in the middle of summer. It's pretty hot. The body on the car and the floors were pretty good in it. It was missing the grill bar, and that is hard to find good used, and they are very expensive new. He also painted the dash red, and he basically just put it all back together. But I mean, the indicators worked and all that stuff. Speedometer worked, but it just wasn't a very good job of paint job on the dash. So I ended up going back and redoing it. But the bumpers that come with the car, after cleaning them up with some 4-aught steel wool and putting some chrome polish on them, they actually turned out pretty sweet. There's pretty nice clean bumpers. I didn't have the money to buy new ones or anything, but this was what I did to the grill. I didn't want to drill any holes in it because I was planning on buying the factory reproduction grill bar later, but that is actually the front fender spears. They're actually the ones that go on the door from a 4-door 55 Chevy Bel Air, and I put one on one side, one on the other, and that crest in the middle's from a 56 Chevy Bel Air I had. I don't remember if that was a hood crest or a trunk crest. I think it was off the trunk, because if I remember right, it was straight. But anyway, I ended up satin blacking the grill and doing it that way. Now, he had put motorcycle blinkers into the splash apron behind the grill, and they come up, the lenses come up about where the holes are in the grill for the blinkers. So it's kind of a neat deal, and he had some blinkers there, and that's what he used to put the car together. He was on a budget too, but anyway. Now, the car didn't have any side windows in it when I got it. All the stuff was there. The window regulators and everything, I think, was in the trunk, but all that stuff was out of it. I believe it had a brand new windshield in it, and I actually helped him put the windshield in it at his house, and we put a new seal on it and stuff. I think the back glass had a new seal. also, but it was the original. So I DA'd it all down and started doing a little body work to it. And I actually went through and welded up where the the rocker molding went. I welded all the holes up solid. And anyway, I did a lot of spot priming on it and stuff like that. Some of the stuff I kind of forgot about, so I'm going through the thread here and it's kind of fun to read. But the Bel Air dash trim, they have little black dots all in there, and some of the black was gone. So I actually taped it all off and Scotch-Brited it, and I sprayed it. It was Krylon paint. I think it was called nickel or something like that. Matte nickel. So I sprayed the inlay of the dash trim like that, and then I just polished the outer on it and stuff. But I took all the instrument cluster apart and put new lens set in it, repainted the needles. I always like to spray paint my needles. I don't like brush paint them because you get brush lines, but there's the taillight assemblies that was original. I mean, they do have a few pits, but overall they were pretty nice. I put new lenses in, and then I redid the black inlay on the headlight bezels there. This is the, and I ended up taking the deck lid, all the front clip, the doors, everything off the car, and all the windows out of it, the front windshield, the back glass, everything. So everything was painted behind, basically. But I did each door individually and painted each door individually, even the door jamb. So it was a good quality paint job. I used single stage urethane black, I believe. Now I was planning on leaving the white on the roof until my neighbor come over and said, "Hey, you building a cop car?" Here's some more pictures of it as the body work goes. As you can see, I had all the glass out of it and all the body panels off. It was a pretty good quality paint job, for not taking the body off the frame. Now I didn't do anything under the hood. The firewall I didn't paint, the inner fenders I didn't paint. It's kind of funny because I ended up putting some black urethane primer on it for the final prime, and I started wet sanding it, and it started looking like that, and I was like, and I'd already bought a gallon of blue pearl, and I was like, dang, maybe I ought to paint this thing black, so that's what I ended up doing. I ended up going down and buying a gallon of black and did that. You can see in the reflection, that is a 56 Bel Air 4-door that I built. I actually drove that car for a long time as well. It was another field car that I pulled out and did everything on, and I lowered it and put Coddington wheels on it and stuff, put a small block in it. But anyway, after wet sanding it, it was like I was hooked. It had to be black. This is it as I sprayed it in my garage. That was, I don't even think I'd cleaned the paint gun yet when I took the pictures, but I still hadn't painted the roof yet. I left it the white at the time, for a small time. Here's some of the dash parts that I painted when I painted the body. I kind of did something different on the dash that I hadn't seen done on a 57 before. I actually did the cluster section black instead of having it the two-tone, small color like I've been on the roof. But I did paint everything, like the back side of the deck lid, the back side of the doors. Each piece was painted piece by piece, and it really turned out nice. I even sanded and repainted the screw heads for the door hinges silver. As you can see here, the instrument cluster surround. I mean, it was the old lenses and stuff, and faded needles, just really, it looked well worn, I guess. But here is some new parts and some pieces that I've polished and cleaned up. And man, I'm telling you, a little bit of cleaning and detail painting will go a long way on making stuff look good. But, that thing looked brand new after that. Even the indicator lenses are a replacement. But man, that thing turned out very, very slick. And I didn't sand and buff it. That is how that single stage urethane laid out. This is when I first buffed the car. I think that was compound, and I think that was glazed, if I remember right, after it was finalized and glazed, but it turned out pretty slick. So I went to my local paint supplier, and I had 55 Bel Air Shoreline Beige mixed up in a single stage urethane, and so that's what I ended up putting on the roof. I Scotch-Brited it all down. Now I painted the dash the Shoreline Beige with a black speedometer surround, and I thought that was really kind of neat because I hadn't seen that done yet. Usually the dash is primary with the rest of the body, but so I flip-flopped it, and I really liked it. It turned out great after that. But there's a lot of the pieces out in the yard, and the doors are lined up. Now, I haven't been keeping track of the dates, but it seems like it was only 2 or 2.5 months, and I had a full-time job when I did this. Other than I took 1 week off for vacation for this, and it seems like I may have taken an extra day or two off during the week because we were slow at work, and I told him I wanted to work on my car, and he was cool with it. This was kind of a mess on these quarter inserts here for a 57 Chevy. They're actually got a clear anodized coating, and these had actually, some of the clear was gone, the anodizing was gone in places. So what I did was I took a sanding block and I sanded the high ridges down until all the anodizing clear coat came off, and then I just polished it. I then went back with some masking tape that was the same width and taped off each individual raised runner, and then I used that Krylon nickel on it, and then I clear coated it with car clear out of the spray gun, and they looked really good on the car after that. I think I put new crests and Bel Air scripts on there, but I don't remember. But here's the dash as it's going back together. I mean, I detailed every little piece, and rebuilt the steering column, and it was going together pretty good for a pretty budget build, I think this picture is, I think I'd just taken it on its first drive after doing all this to it. I don't remember if I had the hood on it or not. I don't think I did. Oh no, I see the hood hinge. But anyway, that's what the car looked like after it got all buffed and assembled. Those wheels were, at the time they were at Summit, and I think they were like $89 each. They're 15x7. They're Summit's line. I don't know who really makes them, but they were just like a knockoff Halabrand, kind of a 5-slot look. But they fit the car real good. And I didn't lower the car. It actually set just a little bit higher in the front, and I kind of liked that. I thought it was kind of a nice little look for the car. Here's some more finished pictures of it. It just ended up being a really nice car. I had actually found, if I remember right, I found a 2-door post 55 210 for sale, and so I actually put this car up for sale and sold it, and I went to go get that 55, and the guy had sold it. So I mean, I ended up with something else later, but there's the grill after I got done. You can kind of see the motorcycle blinkers back behind the grill. I mean, just a good budget way to go, There's stuff I had laying around here. Now, my buddy had put the blinkers in it, but I did the grill bar looking thing in there. Anyway, so here it is. It was like 2.5 months or something like that, but I took this picture in my backyard back by my creek, and then I put the car in the exact same spot. Let's see if we can see the date on it here, if I can get the camera to focus. 6/9/2011, 8, does that say 20? 2011. So anyway, that little bit of time, and I did that with a full-time job, and I was out there. I'd get home from work and I'd immediately start on it, and I'd quit about midnight, and just all over and over every day. But man, that car, it was pretty nice. Didn't have a headliner in it. I put a molded carpet kit in it, and I put some seats out of a Chrysler LHS or Concorde in it that were like a tan color. And I started building door panels for it. I'd actually went to an automotive upholstery supply and took the seat, and they ordered in from Detroit the exact material that was on those Chrysler seats. So I think I did one door panel, and I don't think I ever finished the others, and that's when I sold it to try to buy that other car. Going through the thread, there's another picture there of the dash after it's finished and put back together. That's one of those 15-inch moon steering wheels with the bullet cap, and I did the crest in the center. It's Alpha Factory 55 or 56 steering wheel. I put a new glove box liner in it, and everything was detail painted, new screws and everything. Even took a factory radio apart and cleaned it. Although it didn't work, it just put it in there for a dash filler basically. But I'm telling you what, that was a nice car. Here's the door panel I made. I did a carpeted section lower on it. And then it was basically masonite from Lowe's that I used for my backing. That is the factory stainless trim that goes on a factory door panel. And that was pretty much the only door panel I made for it, but I did have enough material to do the others. And there it is on the car with the cranks and everything on it. But, man, I mean, I really miss that car because it drove and rode really, really nice. And especially for a budget-built car, I mean, I didn't have I probably didn't have $3,000 in the whole car at this point, and I got a good chunk of change out of that car, but I do miss it. I worked at an accessories place, and they did spraying bed liners for trucks, and we pulled it in there one day. We had nothing going on, and we prepped the inside of the trunk, and we did it with the gator hide spraying liner. That's the full-blown liner, you know. You have to have the full suit on, and it comes out at like 200 degrees or something like that, 160 or something. But on the drive home, it was an amazing difference in sound quality inside the car just from spraying the trunk. So it was kind of an eye-opener for me that Dynamat and, you know, stuff like that really does work. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the pictures, guys. But anyway, that's just another car I've built. There are several, and I'll try to do them today as well.